What's your best customer isn't always right story? Worked at a popular cafe so we got stupid crap all the time. My two favorite though. Once had a man flag me down and start shouting about this weird worm in his pie. I took a quick look at the pie and noticed it was actually a piece of onion. After a couple of minutes of calming the man down, I asked him what sort of pie he ordered. He'd ordered beef and onion. He had me freaking swap his half-eaten beef and onion pie for another beef and onion pie because of it. Another time I was delivering a large tray of food to a table. Everything going fine. Just a couple sandwiches etc. As I'm about to walk away, the older guy at the table grabs my attention. The conversation went like this. Guy, is this cheese sandwich dairy free? Me, as far as I'm aware we don't do dairy free cheese, so no. Guy, no I mean does it have any milk products in? Me, yes it's got cheese and butter in. Guy, well can you bring me it back without the dairy products? Me, you want your cheese sandwich without any dairy products? Him, yes. I promptly returned it to my manager, let her know the situation and said good luck figuring that one out. You should have just gave him 2 pieces of toast on top of each other. I used to work at McDonald's. A woman came in and ordered a Big Mac, fries, and a drink. So I put her order in as a Big Mac combo since it is cheaper than getting those 3 things separately. She then proceeded to scream at me claiming that I am ripping her off and charging her for something she didn't even order. My manager then proceeded to simply charge her for those 3 things separately and she ended up paying more. That's what you get for being nice. Most satisfying customer interaction of my cashier career was having the manager back me up on refusing to process a return for incense that didn't taste good. I work at a concert venue. I had a customer call the day after the show wanting a refund because the artist did not play his favorite song during the show. Bonus points if his favorite song was by a completely different artist. Double bonus if the artist that wrote his favorite song is dead. I dealt with a lot of dumb crap as a camp director, but one that always sticks out in mind. After the week is over, a mother comes roaring up to me and has murder in her eye. Having I introduced myself to the families less than an hour before she knew I was an authority figure in the camp. She is irate over the fact that her son told her other campers were using foul and distasteful language in front of her son. Assuming the worst, I ask which words were used and she leans forward to me and whispers fart, balls and butthole. Without trying to laugh, I tell her I will discuss it with the staff. Did I mention that her son was a 15-year-old teen camper? As a 10-13-year-old child, I was once banned from a friend's house because I said, "Oh man, that sucks." Some people are just so out of touch with reality and get upset at the slightest drop of a pin. Work in a takeout food business. A lady ordered a delivery with about 3 meals, one of which had mushrooms in. She called about, I would say, 15 minutes after receiving her order to complain that I tried to kill her by putting mushrooms in her meal. She did not state that she or anyone had a mushroom allergy and went to yell and demand free stuff. The yelling lasted about 10 minutes of her just yelling and threatening to report us, and all I could do was say why she did not state that she had an allergy. In the end she got nothing and funny enough ordered again about 3 weeks later. Worked at a chain pizza place and had a lady call saying she wanted free food because she ordered a pizza the night before and it made her husband sick. I told her that if I ordered food from somewhere that made me sick I probably wouldn't order again, but I'd be glad to send her a new order if she paid for it. I was working at a hotel and a guy comes in and just slaps his head on the counter without saying anything. I look up his reservation and it's not in the system. I tell him we don't have it and he flips out. Starts calling me incompetent and saying he's going to call corporate, etc. Then he says he's been a Hilton Honors member for 5 years and how dare we lose our reservation. So I just pointed at the large sign on the wall behind me that said Holiday Inn Express. He said nothing, snatched his head off the counter and left. I work and produce. An older woman wanted gala apples. I showed her where they were at and went about my business. She then walked up holding a bag of apples, and we had this exchange. Her, I wanted galas. These are Chellan apples. Me, yes ma'am, those are galas. Chellan is the brand. Her, no, they are Chellans, it says on the label. Me, Chellan is the brand, ma'am, those are galas. Her, oh well, we'll see about that. Snooty freaking tone by the way. She examines the bag as I stand there, sets it down, and quietly says, "Oh, you're right," and walks away. That's not the worst one, but the only one that comes to mind right now. Worked at a local upscale restaurant in the Midwest. We had bad weather coming in one night that turned from a tornado watch to a tornado warning. I stayed later than the rest of the staff minus 2 other managers who were going to stay put since they lived half an hour away and the tornado sirens just went off. I'm on my way out the door because I live 5 minutes away and run into the 20-person reservation that didn't answer their phone when we called 5 times to tell them we were closing due to the tornadoes. So we're outside in a thunderstorm with the tornado sirens blaring and these people cannot grasp the situation and are acting like it's just a normal day. I try for a few minutes to get reason in their heads but they're having none of it. So I get the 2 other managers to deal with it and went home because I couldn't handle that level of stupid anymore. I was working in a frozen yogurt shop, and a customer requested that I surprise her with my choice of flavor and add-ons as well as the size. I created a medium chocolate topped with granola and rainbow sprinkles. She looked it over and said it was too small, too crunchy, unattractive, and oh by the way, she was allergic to chocolate. A small, halfway filled vanilla yogurt, topped with a single gummy bear. It's not much, but here goes. I worked at Colston Creamery one summer and loved the job through and through. Best job ever. I lived in a desert town and people were so stoked to be getting something to cool off that they didn't even be about long lines or anything. One day, a girl came in and ordered an item that had hot fudge. I would always mix in the other ingredients and put the fudge over top of it so that it wouldn't melt the ice cream. She requested specifically that I mix in the fudge. I hand her order, and she looks at it and says it's all melted. I say I'm sorry, I can remake it and just pour the fudge over the top. She says please remake it, but still mix in the fudge. I point out we're probably going to be having the same conversation in about 2 minutes about how hot things melt ice cream, but she insists. I redo her order the way she requested. She looks at it again and, predictably enough, complains that it's melted. I say I'm sorry, but I am unable to keep hot things from making ice cream melt. This bee tells me no offense, but she would rather have a co-worker remake it. I get my manager and explain what's happening. He offers to remake it. You can guess what happened. After the 3rd bowl of melted ice cream doesn't meet her approval, she says she maybe just wants a different item. The manager says he's not giving her a 4th item if she only paid for 1. So she demands her money back. He says no, so she calls us both buttholes and storms out. I can't even comprehend this level of stupid. I had a customer's father call and yell at me because his daughter rented a storage unit at a different price he was quoted. His daughter, who was in her 30s mind you, had no problem with the price. No one at our location ever had a conversation with her father. I sat and listened to him tell me how awful at customer service I was, and all the people he referred to my location were going to move out now. Oh no. The kicker was his daughter left us a 5-star review on Yelp after she moved out, praising us for our stellar customer service. Being a child of parents who treat waitstaff and retail employees crappy sucks, man. We can't really control them, can't stop them from being asses, so in return we overcompensate with small niceties because we know that the issue isn't normally the employee's fault. Silently we beg you not to spit in our food and to forgive our forebears. How can my checking account be overdrawn? I still have checks left. You see a lot of stupid people as a bank teller. My grandmother thought that as long as she had checks, she had money. Blew my mind when my mom told me that. I worked for an airline. A customer calls in wanting to go to a city we don't fly to. No problem. I tell him we fly to city and then they can take another airline to final destination. He starts screaming, "Are you new? How can you be so stupid? I am on your website and you do fly there." I explained that I had been employed a mere 25 years with that airline, but I'm always learning. Then I directed the customer to click on the connecting flight number, then read to me what it says. Flight 123 operated by other airline. Oh, why he didn't just book it himself online will become apparent later. We continued on and I made the reservation. This customer complained every time I had to ask for info or say a federally mandated notification. Nothing unusual about that. I did politely ask him to keep his volume down because I could not help him with my ears ringing. Then I asked for the credit card number to complete the purchase. He started screaming again that he was not giving me his credit card, he was using his bank miles. Miles that cannot be accessed by me or the airline. I explained that his bank took his miles, then called us and actually purchased the ticket with actual money. He went totally insane, screeching. I let him know if he didn't clean up his filthy language, I was going to hang up on him. He then asked for a supervisor, which I was. Yippee. The co-worker I begged to take this call explained the situation calmly. I listened in. Then the customer said, I already tried calling the bank reservation line and they said I couldn't do it. Then they hung up on me. Believe it or not, most of my customers were lovely. This one, not so much. I wonder what make people douchebags like this. Worked in a nightclub. Security. Man approached me stating the bar girl overcharged him and he would like to speak with a manager for a refund. No worries. Manager spoke to him, reviewed footage and turned out he didn't even pay for the 2 shots and 2 vodka drinks. Man was asked to leave due to stealing. Carried on and demanded police come sort this out. Manager happily obliged. Police looked at the footage. He was arrested and charged for theft, trespassing and public nuisance, all because he wanted to scam $26 from the venue. His charges amounted to $690. Fail. Customer orders a bowl of soup to go. We are very busy and currently out of the type of soup she ordered. I tell her it will be a significant wait, as it takes at least 10 minutes to heat up soup. She agrees. 2 minutes later she asks me where her soup is. 2 minutes later, she asks again. I get frustrated and tell her we'll put it in the microwave. 2 minutes later, same deal. Where's my soup? It's in the microwave, Mom, but it will take a little longer. Make the microwave go faster. Okay, well, whatever. I pull it's a little early, and it's still cold, but at this point I jaff. I portion out her soup. Our to-go soup containers were taller and narrower than the in-house bowls, which were flat and wide. The volume of soup remained consistent between the 2 containers. I know this because the portion size was 2 ladles, regardless of container. I bring this customer her soup, and she immediately protests that I didn't give her enough soup. She doesn't want to pay the same price for less soup, just because she's taking it to go. I attempt to explain the concept of conservation, which is typically grasped around age 7, to this grown-butt woman. She stares at me the entire time with this suspicious look on her face, like she thinks I'm trying to pull a fast one on her. But the bowls in-house are bigger. Eventually takes her soup. Shows back up half an hour later. It's cold. I don't work there anymore. Honestly, there should be a Yelp for tracking customers. If you frick with too many businesses, you get banned. I was working at a gas station that had updated pumps, except for one. The one old pump had the thing under the nozzle you had to flip up to turn the pump on. Now I can see on the register if someone is using or trying to use a credit card. This lady comes in and says my card isn't working at the pump, and I explain to her that you have to flip up the lever for it to work. She tells me, well, I already put my card in. I tell her, ma'am, your transaction cancels after a short time to prevent inaccurate transactions. She says again, but I already put it in. I explain to her that I can see active cards by looking at the register, but this just isn't computing in her brain and I'm frickin' busy. I explained to her 2 or 3 more times and she's still not getting it. Now there's a line of 15 people behind her, so I look past her to the next customer and say, what can I get for you? She storms out, gets a gas and comes back in, looking to wait in the line she created. She gets to the front and sneeringly says, what's your name? And I tell her, Patrick. She says, what's your whole name? I say, what's your whole name? And she told me her whole name. I tell her that doesn't matter because I'm the only Pat that works here, and she tells me she will be making a complaint because I was very rude. At this point I put my line on pause for a second and say, lady, you came in, I told you what to do. You went back out and did what I told you, and got your gas. If I wasn't busy I would have come out and helped you. She says, I'm sorry you would have, and leaves. Told my boss about it the next day and he says if she calls me I'll tell her you only have one leg. This may not be the best, but it's the most recent, and one I find particularly amusing. I work as an admin at a body shop. It should be noted that I am a woman, and I tend to sound super young on the phone. A guy called in wanting an estimate. Gee, I want an estimate to replace the side view mirror on my truck. I got sideswiped and it took the mirror off me. Okay sir, I can certainly schedule you for an appointment. G. Can't you just do it over the phone? Me. We do prefer that you come in, just in case there's damage that isn't obvious. G. Look, sweetie, I just want an estimate for how much it will be to replace the mirror on a Silverado F150. Me. Which one? G. What? Me. A Silverado or an F150? G. I thought they were the same thing. Me. Overly polite and more than a little condescending at this point. No sir, a Silverado is a Chevy and an F150 is a Ford. Freaking idiot. G. Look, sweetie, I just want an estimate for how much it will be to replace the mirror on a Silverado F150. What in butthole? You've been visited by the rowdy rough doggo of the Wild West. Many yeehaws of good fortune and delicious dishes of chicken parmigiana will come to you if you comment giddy up papa and subscribe to Updoot Reddit. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.